And Bob is going to talk to us about how to stand out as an ISP in the social media economy. Bob makes Tech Talk easy to understand, and relevant and human. Bob has worked in tech in one form or another since 1999, including with the major telecommunications providers. His expertise ranges from security systems to audiovisual to IT and HGTV personalities. Mike Holmes, Brian Baumler, and Scott McGilvery have relied on that expertise for their home improvement projects. Outstanding customer relations has always been Bob's goal and his strength. He hands out the straight goods about what he's going to do and why he's doing it, equipping the customers to make smart decisions about the systems they rely on. We have the presentation? Sure. Thank you. And Bob received his degree from the University of Toronto and is also trained in wireless telecommunications and networking management. His experience includes technical customer support, sophisticated troubleshooting, satellite installation and repair, business development and marketing, and online relationship management. Since 2005, he's been a feisty entrepreneur, managing and growing his own technical support and consulting enterprise. Today, Bob is pretty darn excited to be educating others about tech topics, being an entrepreneur and social media through impassioned talks and avid networking like this. His interactive sessions are always practical and enlightening, and we'll be the judge of that.
Yes.
All right. So
Michael really sold that. He really believed that that whole thing that took me forever to write. While Michael's setting that up, I'd love to ask a few questions briefly, so I know who's in the room. How many of you are in a marketing role in the ISP that you work for right now? So a few of you. Now, how many of you are in a role that touches on social media? So you may be the receptionist that does social media. Smaller ISPs do what they need to do to survive. So, okay. So there's a few of you here that have experimented with social, but the majority of you have not touched it yet, is the assumption. So what we're going to talk about today, while Michael cues it up, is with 35 minutes, perfect, thank you. With 35 minutes, we can only go through so much when it comes to social channels. So what I elected to do was to touch on each one briefly and sort of talk about what really works within those venues. What I'm hoping to do is at the end of this talk is reserve about 10 or 15 minutes. I know we're behind, but Michael will cut us off, to let you guys ask questions specifically about your ISP and its social platform, and maybe we can sort of help some people today. What I wanted to start off with, and as Michael described, is I'm not simply a social media consultant. I've just sort of evolved into this role. I started just like every one of you. So I've worked for Rogers, I've worked for Bell, I've worked for Cancom Shaw. So I've heard the customers' calls that come in. And we can all laugh about it when they're saying, can the internet find my laptop in my house? Can my computer doesn't work because the screen is off? I've heard of it all. And the funny thing is about social media is a lot of companies, not just ISPs, they get scared. They get nervous that sometimes those customer questions can make them feel silly and look bad in a very public forum. So I get it, I understand, and since 2005, as social media evolved and developed, we've been using it for our consulting to our advantage, to the point where as of 2 months ago, 25% of our referral business came from social media, which is actually a lot if you think about how much money you're putting into marketing. What I learned was, with social media, it really is the new form of word-of-mouth marketing. So when people look at social, they assume right away that it's for the young kids, that it's something that can't be controlled or tamed. But if any of us have used word-of-mouth marketing or played in that space, that's really how you need to look at social media. That's truly what it is. And you can contain that in a certain format. You can actually find yourself getting more business referrals than traditional marketing. So using social media, you're able to get to a larger audience quicker, and not just that, but you're able to get the right type of clients that you want. You can cater your social media strategy to get the clients that you think are best fit for your business. Of course, with an ISP, we're just looking for people that want the internet, but sometimes we want those consumers that are willing to upgrade, or we want those business clients that need a T1 line. And social media, you can develop that specifically. The next question we get asked a lot, or I get asked a lot about social media, especially with corporations, is what's the return on investment? So when I started in social media, it was very holistic. We could always say, well, you can't really ask for return on investment when it comes to social. And I'm sure many of you have heard that from the folks that wear flip-flops and have beards and long hair. All social media consultants look like that. That's what I've been told. The return on investment truly is loyalty. And why loyalty is important is you're in an economy where you're competing with other ISPs. So as you each sit here beside each other, you're probably competitors within one community or another. Social media allows you to get that loyalty for that customer not only to sign up with you, but to stay with you and buy more from you. You're going to create fans and you're going to create advocates. You're going to create people that want to be here, but more importantly, want to tell other people to be here. And again, with the right social media strategy, that's what you can do. You want to also give them respect by treating them like more than a customer. You want to treat them like a person. And I'll tell you what that means. So when I worked in the call center and then when I eventually had my own business, what I learned was when I was in the call center, we all have stresses, we all have deadlines, we all have certain things we have to meet. So of course, customer service doesn't always take priority. We say it does, but it doesn't always. When I eventually became a consumer, I realized when I was calling in, I had a lot of fear and anxiety. I was calling in because I didn't understand what was happening, why my internet wasn't working, why my voice over IP wasn't working. And when I would call in, those that treated me like a person were more likely to get me to talk positively about them on social media. Now, you all know to get a positive comment or positive feedback on any form of word of mouth is a bit tricky, but to get a negative one, really easy to do. You upset a client, they'll find every manner they know of to let everyone know they're not happy. If you simply treat them like a person on social media, using your social media channels, engage with them, interact with them, you're likely going to find more of a response from them. There are 3 components that are truly, truly important when it comes to social media. And it's really important that whether you're in traditional marketing or not, that you get this concept. The first is customer education. Customer education is all about alleviating that fear and that anxiety that your client is feeling about not knowing how their service works, right? Not understanding why it's not working today. They're anxious. You know, we're in an economy, we have a consumer base that wants their stuff right away. So if they don't understand why it's not working, they're anxious, they're angry, you know, they're giving you a lot of pressure. By providing them customer education, so how does their internet work? Or here are some basic troubleshooting tips to try before you call and reach out to us. Or empower them with the ability to understand, depending on the business that they're in, what is port forwarding or why is it important to your business when you have a security camera system. Customer service is another important component of social media. So you've seen it now. You've seen the larger telcos with social media channels that simply respond when customers are complaining. How many times do you see these channels simply saying, we're sorry it didn't work, call us at this number. We're sorry it didn't work, send us a direct message. Here's the problem. That client already knows your phone number. If they're your client, they know how to get a hold of you. They're choosing to use social to reach out to you and express their displeasure. So by using it as a customer service tool, what you're doing is you're not only allowing them to alleviate that anxiety and that stress and that frustration they're feeling, you're showing everybody around them that you care. You're showing everybody on that social media channel that's watching this conversation and this engagement that you think they're important and that you want to treat them like a person. And the last, of course, which is really important for all of us in business, customer conversion. It's okay to get business from social media. When I started it in consulting, especially with social, it was holistic again, as I said. You really didn't say that. It actually is okay. It's okay to use your Facebook page to let people know of promotions and upcoming specials. It's okay to encourage people to buy from you. You don't want to make it your only voice. You don't want to make it your only platform. You've got 2 other channels that two other components that you're going to use on your social channels. But it's okay to sell to them. Just don't only sell to them. You're giving them a reason of why they want to buy from you. They're going to make that choice. So that's why, so customer conversion is important. So let's talk about each sort of channel individually. Not every ISP or every company uses all channels. So when I talk about social media and social media strategy, it really is dependent on the business that you're in and what works for your community. Because not all ISPs are national. They may have only a small community that they service, a small town, municipality. So really the channels that you use are dependent on that. So let's start with Facebook, obviously one of the most popular platforms that are out there right now. With Facebook, really what you're trying to do is you're trying to engage them and get them to want to come to your page and share what you have to say. So you're going to have pictures. You're going to use pictures or anything that's more visual, anything graphic based, because you'll find that in Facebook, people are more likely to engage, interact, and comment on those things, as opposed to just the text and words. You can use pictures with text and words, but have some sort of visual. It's also okay to have contests and campaign on Facebook. Now, Facebook does have regulations on how you do that, but again, it's okay to sell. The important thing to understand is when you have contests and campaigns on Facebook, you're bringing in traffic to your page, they're liking your page, they're seeing what you have to say. But you also want them to stay, because as soon as somebody's won that prize, they're not likely to come back unless you've given them a reason to stay. More pictures, more information, more education, putting up videos or putting up comments about how they can learn to do something themselves. Twitter is another great platform to use. Twitter is really about up-to-date information, completely different audience than Facebook. So when you see companies that use Facebook and Twitter simultaneously with the same words, that's usually a fail, because they're two different audiences that are using those two platforms. When it comes to Twitter, people are more interested in news, outages, and offers, things that are quick, things that can be under 140 characters that you can get across. Now, I will tell you, Twitter can take a bit of talent to master. Please don't use short-form words like the teenagers use. You can use a full sentence and still get your point across, but again, it takes practice. But let people know what's going on with you guys. Hey guys, we're expanding our network next year. We're going to be able to offer Wi-Fi in this community. Or for example, we're really sorry right now we're experiencing an outage in this community. Please bear with us while we resolve it, and keep them informed. And that is going to do two things. One, they're not likely going to call into the call center. And two, they're not likely going to blast you on social media because you've educated them. Again, that's what it's about, education. And put offers out there. So again, it's an 80-20 rule. 80% is personal, 20% is business when it comes to social media. Put a few offers. Say, hey guys, if you see this tweet, retweet it, win free service for a month. You guys are already doing those campaigns in traditional print media and probably other traditional formats. It's okay to use Twitter for that as well. LinkedIn is one of the least used form of social media marketing. So as professionals, we all use LinkedIn to find a job. Really, that's really what it's about. LinkedIn has actually got this thing called LinkedIn Groups. What LinkedIn Groups are, it's a series of professionals that connect with one another and chat about a topic. So for example, if your company were to have a LinkedIn group where people could come on and talk about and share data, or heck, what if a bunch of you started a LinkedIn group? Several ISPs got together and started a place where consumers can come, professionals can come and ask questions and have them answered by industry experts. It doesn't take a lot of time. More importantly, why LinkedIn is underused by a lot of companies are, find good employees. If you have a presence on LinkedIn, as I just told you, we're using that to find a better job or to find a great opportunity. Put yourself on LinkedIn as a company, talk about why you're the great company to work for, and you're going to find the technicians, the engineers, the sales staff you want are going to seek you out, which is a lot easier than you having to put an ad in the paper, an ad on Monster, having to surf through a bunch of people. Get the right people looking for you. And yes, that is a social media strategy. Another thing to consider, of course, is YouTube. So when we talk about consumer education, what we find is in studies and statistics is that people are more likely to respond to videos. So you can put text on, here is how you do a port forward, or here is how you troubleshoot your own modem. But if you actually do a video that has interactivity, that people can visually see what's happening, you're going to find that you're going to get more reaction from it. And I will tell you, with the way technology is today, don't feel like you need to hire a professional video crew. Although professional video crews are great. Thank you, sir, for doing what you do. It's something that you can definitely do in-house. Don't feel like you need to have an entire production facility with a Steven Spielberg director. It is something you can do in-house. People are not looking for perfectly professionally developed videos. They're looking for the information in the video. And if any of you have surfed YouTube, you've seen what counts as content on YouTube. So really what you want to do is do that. YouTube is also one of the second most search engines outside of Google. So when people are frustrated or people don't know what to do, they may not call you right away. They may Google search. They may search and say, I need to find a new ISP in London, Ontario. And YouTube inadvertently acts as a search engine optimizer. It inadvertently puts you up there with other Google statistics. So by using YouTube, creating a video, let's say you do it once a month with a new education video. It's fun. You'll find your staff will have fun. It's an important resource to use as well that's really underutilized. Email newsletters. Yes, this is social media. I get that a lot of you say, well, no one's really responding to emails, or they're not really reading my emails, or emails are overused. Email newsletters are still a traditional form of marketing to reach people that may not be social savvy. So you still will find people who say, I don't get Facebook, or Twitter's too hard, but they're still checking email. Have an email newsletter that talks about everything else we talked about: customer education, customer conversion, customer service. Put that in the newsletter, and the one thing I will tell you about newsletter, don't do it every 30 days. They're expecting that. Do it every 23 days. Do it every 12 days. Put it on an odd number so that they're not expecting it to appear in their inbox, and when it does, you're going to capture them with the information you've put on there. That's another key component as well. Blogging is a form of social media. So now when I say blogging, right away I feel a lot of your anxiety is going up. Blogging is not as hard as it sounds. Blogging is simply you talking in a Word format. Really what I'm doing now is a form of a blog. It's simply putting together your thoughts that you think can help your customer get through the anxiety or the issues that they're feeling. And it makes them loyal to you. So a lot of people tell me, well, Bob, how do I know what to blog about? I have no idea. I have writer's block. The only thing you need to do is listen to your customer service staff and ask them, what are the 10 most common questions we get in the queue? The 10 most common questions you guys are getting in the queue are what's gonna satisfy customers, make them happy, make them loyal. Not only that, but now they're not overexpanding your queue with that same question. And again, a blog can be simply 200 words. It should be well written, so please don't think that you can just put a bunch of junk together. It should be well written. Include pictures like Facebook. And blogging should always be done from your website. So that's the next point we're going to go into is your website. Website is another form of social, and I'll tell you why. When a lot of companies use social media, they use the social media channel independently. And there's a problem with that. That's not a strategy. Simply posting on Facebook and posting on Twitter, it doesn't go anywhere. It's really hard to convince someone to buy or direct them to buy if you're putting out in channels that are out there. You want to use your website as your anchor. So your website is there. You've got all the information there that customers need. You're blogging from there. The information on your website that you're blogging, the contests, all that, you're putting that on social. You're not simply going to Facebook and putting a random picture, putting comments, and then walking away. You need to give them a reason. You need to give them breadcrumbs. Truly, social media is breadcrumbs to conversion. You need to give them a place to go to be able to buy the services that you're offering. So think about social strategy in that way. Don't simply say, how do we master Facebook? How do we master Twitter? Truly, all you need to master is a website that is social friendly and that offers links that you can put on those channels to direct them back. And plan it out. The most important part of a social strategy, no matter which channel you use, is consistency. So as ISPs, some of us are large, some of us are small, and I think someone mentioned it earlier, sometimes we're the receptionist, the janitor, the security guard, we do it all. Consistency is key, and by consistency I mean you need to always be on there constantly putting new information. Now I don't mean every day, I don't mean every hour. It depends on the community that you're in and the strategy you develop. It can be every few days, it can be once a week. You need consistency for two reasons. One, Google is not going to care about you if you haven't at least updated yourself every few days, even with the new algorithms out there. Two, customers are not going to care about you, and they're going to forget about you if they haven't seen you for a while. That's the nature of the beast of consumers today. They're constantly being bombarded with information. So you need consistency. So that means either you dedicate somebody internally in your organization, and again, if it's the receptionist, fine. You want somebody with some sort of writing savvy and marketing background, but if you start with your reception, that's fine, somebody who seems to have a talent for it, or outsource it. Because again, when you outsource something like that, you're going to find the ROI is going to be much more fruitful for you because now you're dealing with somebody who's developing a strategy that works for you guys. And again, really, that's about it. I put up my information there because I was planning to stay for the day, and I still am, but I've heard that the 400 is closed, and I live in Barrie. So I may have to leave early. What I'd like to do now, though, as I said, I see a bunch of you have laptops, mobile devices. I'm curious if any of you have questions about you've experimented with social media, or you have channels that are not working, or you want to ask a question that perhaps other people can benefit from. Does anybody have any questions about their social media channels at all? No? Everyone's doing perfect social media? Yeah, we're good. Oop, I went too far. This was the quickest presentation I've ever done. Truly. We're good? Okay, so you guys have my information. I'm open to receiving your emails. Please visit and let me know if you do have questions that you're a little nervous to ask among your peers, and we would love to try and help you out. Again, I will be here for the rest of the day. Thank you guys very much. I'm grateful for your time. Thank you.